All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the last and final episode of Sakusei Byoutou, the Nurses from Hell edition. When I tell you this episode was genuinely the funniest and the most sickening episode I've ever seen. Not gonna lie, and this one was the least. I have to admit, of all the episodes that I've seen, throughout from 1 to 10. This final episode was the least gruesome that I've ever come across. If anything, it actually was quite the most there was the most normal episode I've ever seen. So, and this first scene we're gonna show you, we finally get to meet Dr. Amamiya and her assistant Otsuka. So we get to see Yamada as well, and this time it looks like the disease isn't going away anytime soon. So they're both introducing to each other, and they're about to finalize their final research on what's causing the disease or what's the root of it all. So during this episode in the hospital, what it seems to look like the last few days, they were able to finally find out what was causing the entire disease to be happening. So it turns out that the disease is actually a novel disease, meaning that there's no cure, but there's treatments. So that's what basically Dr. Amamiya was saying. So, and this next scene is gonna be a bit more, interesting than the last. And as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Amamiya came with the conclusion that this is a novel disease. So that means he's going to be permanently going to be staying in the lab for more and further experimentations upon him. And she's very excited about this too. And then assistant nurse is actually encouraging this. And I'm not gonna lie, this was actually funny because the way she's so excited about learning, she's basically a mad scientist, if we're being honest here. She's beyond a doctor here. She's a mad scientist. But anyways, and this next scene, we get to actually meet all of the nurses from episodes 1 through 10 as well. Well, 1 through 9. And we get to see Tachibana, what it looks like she's handling some paperwork until she ended up seeing a cart speeding up. And this is where she realized that Yamada was being escorted by the two mad-ass nurses. And not gonna lie, that one caught me off guard. And she was like, wait, that's Yamada. So anyways, they ended up going into the lab for further testing. And when she did the further testing, it turns out that again, it was a novel disease, and they had to extract as much as possible, and successfully they did, because apparently, and here was the funniest part to me. The funniest part to me was that apparently, Dr. Amamiya doesn't get to have much physical intimacy due to the fact that she's so obnoxiously loud that the men who she hooks up with, or I would say date, does not blitz inside her, because she was that much of a freak out. Because every time she screams, because she gets so excited, during the whole physical intimacy, men just get turned off and they can't even concentrate. That's why she's been having a terrible time, and she has to lower her voice. Now, she did something that was extremely unnecessary and diabolical at the same time. To me, it was unnecessary, but I guess I understand it. She ended up pouring some gas, and this was no ordinary gas. This was not like one of those anesthetic gases. This was more like an aphrodisiac gas. But all three of them in the room were affected by it, and they had this desire. Well, they have the nymphomaniac effect on these two females, kicked in overdrive, and Yamada ended up getting some effect too, so he had that desire. But I love the fact that she was able to explain this in such intricate detail that she basically wants to adopt this little nigga here, and the other nurse is crying like tears of joy because she's another freak out. This red hair, she's a freak out herself. She's no better than this one. She basically says, listen, the disease is named the Amamiya, Otsuka, and Yamada disease. And Even Yamada was confused. He was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Because she originally called it the Amamiya and Yamada disease, but she wanna be included. And then this is where it gets even worse. So after, you notice the blackout happened because they were using a machine that collects the specimen. Yes, the specimen. You see what I did there? So they ended up collecting so much of disease that the system ended up catching an error, causing an entire blackout in the hospital building. And all the nurses were surrounded. And Tachibana was being, told by Yamada that he was very thankful for being taken care of by her, and she watches him with disdain, contempt, and she's like, well, it's our job as nurses, even though we hate it, but we gotta do what we gotta do. So apparently his hands were also fixed, and before he will almost hit, he was this close to get hit, because he was like, what the hell you bitches doing? You're trying to kill me or some and she's like, dang it, we was almost close. And then this is where Otsuka, with her freaky strong ass, tells him, listen, we want to thank you, you're finally being this shot. And she breaks her not only his hands were broken, his entire forearm was broken too. And this is where he was knocked out, because the pain was so intense, he got knocked out. And then he woke up in bed with Tachibana all over again. It was like episode 1 again, and that was like the best epilogue I've ever seen. Now, I know you guys gonna say, man, this should have just ended with him just going about his business and all of that, but I think this ending was perfect. Because you know why? Because I love the fact that they tried to come up with some kind of excuse to keep him in the hospital for further research or experimentation. I think that was the best ending of all, to me, in my honest opinion. But let me know what you guys think. How you guys think this should have ended? Do you think that it should have ended in a way where he leaves the hospital, never returns, gets to live a normal life, like a normal teenager? Or this ending? To me, this ending was perfect. Absolute fucking cinema. And the fact that Tachibana returned to her duty is insane work. I enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed this episode, and this was the last episode, mind you. I'm not sure if they're gonna do like a season 2. I do hope they make a season 2 to see like where it would lead, but I think this ending was just perfect. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What was your least favorite episode? What was your least favorite part of the episode? And what was your favorite? To me, the favorite part, and the funniest part to me, is when they were going at it. Two of them too. And the fact that she is so cute, trying to not sound like like childish, because they give her like this childish mentality, but at the same time, I enjoyed it, every moment of it. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys want to watch a full episode, you guys I will leave the video, the title on the video with the name on it, so you guys don't have to ask, well, what's the sauce and all of that, But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, peace out.